listening is a huge skill that a lot of people struggle with. And not just listening, actually, let's be more specific. Listening and understanding, that's the key. Because there are two types of listening. There's passive listening and active listening. By the way, I'm on my dog walk today, and which is normally when I do my videos, actually, because that's when inspiration strikes. And it's such a beautiful day. Anyway, back to the subject in hand. Passive and active listening. So, passive listening is when you're not really focusing. So, for example, if you're listening to the radio or somebody's talking and in your mind you're just, whatever, that you don't really listen until your boss says your name, and then it's like, oh, I wasn't really listening. So that's passive listening. You shouldn't really be doing passive listening in meetings, to be fair, but it does depend on who's speaking to you. But active listening, they're both important, passive listening and active listening. Passive listening is important because it allows you to absorb the way that words pronounce, maybe pick up some extra phrases that you weren't not really sure about, that kind of thing. So it's really important to do passive listening. It's also fun. Like if you want to listen to music and you can sing along, and that will help, depending on who you're listening to, with different accents perhaps. But active listening is the most important thing that you can work on, because active listening involves you taking in the information that you're being told. When you're having any form of conversation, wherever you are, listening is at least 50% of the conversation. And not just listening to the words, but looking at the non-verbal cues as well. So looking at the facial expressions, which can give a really good tip as to what type of information is coming your way. If they look really animated or really sad or angry, these are all can help you to kind of figure out what they're talking about if you're struggling a little bit. But when you're active listening, which you should do some active listening every single day. When you're active listening, make a note of any words and phrases that you come across that would be useful or that you don't know. If somebody is from a particular part of the world and you really struggle to understand what they say, for example, your manager, who's probably someone that you should understand, is from like Texas in America or Yorkshire in England, and they have quite a strong accent. It can be quite difficult to understand what they're saying, but don't worry, because the key is at hand. Because like any part of language, practice makes better. Practice improves. So find someone that has a similar accent and listen to them speak. Make a note of what words they say in different ways. Maybe some words and phrases that actually mean nothing in English, but they are a word that's used in their particular area. Just make a note of what they talk about and what to look out for. And if you can, for example, if you're going through a training or something like that, ask them if you can record them speaking. And I know this might sound odd, but explain that you're trying to improve your listening skills, because I'm sure they know that sometimes you find it harder to keep up. So just say you're trying to practice your listening skills and you'd like to listen again to make sure that you absorb all of the useful information that they are imparting. A little bit of a compliment there for them. And then when you've recorded what they're saying, you can actually listen back 2 or 3 times and figure out what they're saying. Figure out what words they're saying in different ways. Figure out what words they use a lot. People use the same words all the time. They use the same phraseology, they use the same vocabulary. So all you need to do is pick up the things that they're repeating. Learn what they are, learn what they mean, and then you can focus. It gives you the time and the space to focus on what you don't know. So each time they speak, a lot of people, especially during training, they repeat in different ways to make sure that it's clear for everyone. So try and understand what they're saying, and when they start to say it again in a slightly different way, go, "Oh, they're saying the same thing in a slightly different way." And also actively make sure that you make a note of words and phrases that are useful for you. Okay? Don't make a note of words and phrases unless they use it a lot. Don't make a note of random words and phrases that are not useful, because you're going to waste your time, and nobody has time to waste. So that's the lesson for today. It's a little bit of a longer one. Active and passive listening. When it comes to studying, doing active listening exercises is a really great way to work on your whole language skills. It doesn't quite do you can't practice your speaking so much, but if you actively listen, that will help you with your vocabulary, with your pronunciation. And if you use a section of what you're listening to shadow, more on shadowing later in the week, then that will help you with your practicing your speaking too. Okay? So, let me know who you're listening to. Let me know if you have any particular problems, if you have any particular strong accents that you're finding challenging, and I can certainly help with that. I can help maybe recommend people for you to listen to, because practice simply does make perfect. And you'll find that a lot of the apps, the voice recording and things like that apps, have an ability now. I know that for sure Spotify does, and Audible, which has audiobooks, they have an ability to slow down the playing. So you can slow it down to half speed. And when you're actively listening, sometimes slowing it down, particularly if they speak quickly, is a really good benefit. Because if you can just slow them down a little bit, instead of having them speaking really quickly, then you can actually have more of an idea. It doesn't work all the time, to be honest, because people that have strong accents, even if you listen to them slowly, you might not be able to understand them. So, okay. If you've got any questions, please feel free to reach